As spoken of by John Filson, the vast Indiana Territory in all its wildness in 1806. Federal deputy land surveyors are measuring with magnetic compass and 66-foot long chains. They are setting out 640-acre square sections of land with corner monuments. All lines running north and south and east and west, regardless of the terrain. 2 survey crews are to meet on the hilltop where the mighty Buffalo Trace descends down the west face of the Knobs, just east of the Trace crossing Little Indian Creek. The crews have followed the strict dictates of Surveyor General Edward Tiffin's 1785 instructions and sworn oaths to deputy surveyors. They have completed 24 of the 36 sections in Township 2 South, Range 6 East of Buckingham's second principal meridian. At base camp, they will rest a few hours, resupply their necessities, then once again embark on their oath-sworn mission to practice the art of surveying the land and setting monuments that are accurate. At this time in history, the single greatest attempt by mankind to map such a vast portion of the Earth's surface. The surveyors' monuments and their maps are the very foundations of our society. This set off an explosion of colonization and nation building and expansion. Those survey monuments still stand true today and are a tribute to the original surveyors. As the Campbell crew arrives early, they set up their 8-inch brass compass to prepare the needle direction to the Fowler survey crew's compass, so as to obtain compass orientation, declination, and compass agreements. After having set up their 8-inch brass compass, the surveyors can now relax and light their pipes. Now coming along the Buffalo Trace, a group of pioneers arrive at the surveyors' camp. The settlers are from the Falling Run Valley, east of the Knobs. It being springtime, the ladies are gathering fresh mushrooms, now blossoming from the forest. They are en route to a barn raising at the newly established Morrison Farm on Little Indian Creek. Miss Rebecca Jones and her neighbor Martha LaFollette are traveling with 2 long hunters, sharpshooter Mark Gardner and hatchet man Charles Bones Humphrey. The ladies invite the surveyors to dinner at the Morrisons. The always hungry surveyors are eager to agree, asking only that they must wait on the arrival of their second survey crew to compare compasses. When Fowler arrives, they will compare their compasses and get magnetic declination and compass agreement and move from there with the ladies to the Morrisons. In the beginning of the retreat of the frost giant glaciers, 26,000 years past, animals entered southern Indiana by crossing the Devonian Age uplifted limestone bridge at the falls of the Ohio, creating footpaths into the Indiana wilderness. 14,000 years went by as these mastodons, woolly mammoths, giant elk, deer, moose, bear, panther, wolverine, wolf, fox, and finally the first humans arrived at the falls. Some of these amazing ancient trails, 14,000 years later, were certainly traveled upon by the first humans to arrive. Those first humans found themselves in a very lush and natural garden, where the animals at the falls were not afraid of the first humans, for they had not yet learned to fear them. Those human families camped, lived, and followed those ancient trails for 12,000 years prior to the arrival of the American buffalo to the Falls of Ohio in the 1400s. Which ancient trails did the buffalo pick to trot upon across our vast central heartland, to follow, pack down, widen, and change, as only they could do, into their celebrated Buffalo Road of 1805? This massive time gap of 12,000 years must be fathomed to understand the numerous ancient footpath trails and forks that existed and were, by necessity, created, carving their footpathways forward, whichever way that may be, and crossing the Buffalo Trace at many places. The Kentucky segment of this ancient trail is the Wilderness Road, being an extension through the Cumberland Gap of footpath trails through Tennessee and the Carolinas to the Atlantic Ocean. Famous colonial surveyor and creator of Cincinnati, John Filson, had escaped capture and perhaps death while carrying trade goods along the Indiana Buffalo Trace, returning from Vincennes to Clarksville and Louisville. Making his escape away from death under cover of darkness, while his two Native American guides fought off the attackers, he was forced to spring away and travel 2 days on foot to return to the falls. Mr. Filson, through published works, created the legend of Daniel Boone and published the first map of Kentucky, whereupon he noted that the end of the Wilderness Road through Kentucky was at the Falls of the Ohio, or in simpler terms, Indiana is the wilderness, as it is where the road leads, but it is not the end of the road. And had Mr. Filson lived to make a map of Indiana, I feel assured that it would have shown that connection. Unfortunately, Mr. Filson vanished while founding and surveying Cincinnati, leaving no trace, a mystery still today. The Indiana Buffalo Road Wilderness Road Trail extends across Indiana to the shallow rock shoals at Vincennes on the Wabash, and then is known as the Illinois Buffalo Trace, and it flows west through the rolling native prairie grasslands of the Illini to St. Louis, and beyond to the Great Plains and the Rocky Mountains along the Oregon Trail. The buffalo are the new kids on the block. Well, they arrived east of the Mississippi at about the time of the European discovery of America in 1492. But unfortunately, the mighty buffalo had vanished from Indiana by 1810, along with most of Indiana's Native American families and the remnants of their proud tribes. When the adventurous French explorer René Robert Cavelier, the Sieur de La Salle, was at the Falls of the Ohio in the 1600s, the Buffalo Trace Wilderness Road crossing the Limestone Falls would have been quite evident and easy to see, but not so today. During their 300 or 400 years of travel from the Great Plains through Indiana, the buffalo herds and the ever-trailing packs of panthers and wolves followed parts of existing footpaths, and then by necessity carved their own footpaths. Ancient footpath trails crisscrossing Indiana have been evolving for use by the past 12 to 26,000 years. One set of footprints following another set of footprints to create a hard-packed passage forward through the wild places and beyond.
The Buffalo Trace, it's crowded round here. We need more space. Load up the wagon, it's time to go. Get on the Buffalo Trace and find our new home. I had big dreams, I know you do too. The journey is worth it for me and you. Farewell, old friends, we need to stake our claims. The Buffalo Trace is calling my name. The Buffalo Trace, yes, the Buffalo Trace. It's crowded round here, we need more space. Load up the wagon, it's time to go. Get on the Buffalo Trace and find our new home. We're headed out west, I don't know how far. Trouble is waiting, this'll be hard. Let's follow our dreams, the trace will lead the way to our future and a brand new day. The Buffalo Trace, yes, the Buffalo Trace. It's crowded round here, we need more space. Farewell, old friends, we need to stake our claims. The Buffalo Trace is calling my name. Yes, the Buffalo Trace, the Buffalo Trace. It's crowded round here, we need more space. Load up the wagon, it's time to go. Get on the Buffalo Trace and find our new home.